All right, it's happening. Hopefully you can all see me. Hopefully you can all hear me. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Amanda Zitto. If you are new here, I make motorcycle travel vlogs, how-tos, and general encouragement for you to get out and do the thing. Oh, I'm so excited to be here and get to chat with all of you. It has been a crazy couple of months. I can't even remember, did we talk after the Idaho BDR or before the Idaho BDR? I can't even remember at this point. Hello! My mom is in the side chat. Everybody say hello to Mama Zitto. The Falcro is here. George is here. Sean is here. Hello! Yay! Oh, wonderful. Fantastic. I love it when it goes smoothly. Oh, hello! Yay! And Robin the Lady Biker is here, and Pete is here. Hello, Barb. Oh, David, hi! Yay! Oh, wonderful. This is awesome. I missed you guys. That sounds weird because you're in the comment section whenever I post a video, and I appreciate you, but it's different, you know? I don't know. Oh, awesome. Okay, I think we're gonna start. I'm gonna pour myself some whiskey. Whew. North End, the Idaho BDR. Panhandle, I hope you're having a good time. I hope that some of the smoke has cleared up for you, hopefully. Alrighty. Dad and brother are here too. They're just eating. Oh, good. Waving a hand from St. Louis. Hello. Northwest Georgia. We're having Easy Rider Kentucky Bourbon and Coke this time. There we go. Awesome. I just got back from the Orygun Run, and I recorded and made some Instagram stories and took some photos for Easy Rider, which was super cool. That was a blast. Slow and Low. Oh, I love Slow and Low. Excellent choice, Robin. I think we talked before I went to Get On ADV Fest, right? I went to Get On ADV Fest, and then Rocky Mountain Roll happened, and then I did Orygun Run. And yesterday we did the Pack It Out cleanup day, which was super awesome. Way more people showed up than I thought they would to pick up some trash. That was super rad. And next Saturday I leave for Overland Expo West. It's been very busy. Greetings from Nelson, New Zealand on a Monday morning. Oh, wow, awesome. Bourbon and Coke. Thank you. Thank you, Zerny. Appreciate it. Hello from Oxford, UK. Wow, Biker and Bits, it is so late there. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Redemption Bourbon. I don't think I've tried that, Falcro. I guess that should be on my list next. Wonderful. I'm going to first answer a question that my brother had about Overland Expo West, except it was extremely vague. It was just, I want to know about Overland Expo West. And I was like, that's vague. We should all, in the chat, you should all just tell Gary that he needs to go to Overland Expo West with me. I'm already getting ahead of myself. The dates for Overland Expo West are September 24th to 26th. I'm cheating. I have notes in front of me. And it is in Flagstaff, Arizona this year. Tickets for motorcycle campers for the weekend is like $165. As my brother knows very intimately, that probably does not include any kind of transaction fees along with buying the ticket. I am going with Onyx Off-Road this year, so I'll be hanging out at their booth a little bit, talking a little bit about the app. Super stoked to get to go with them. It also means that one of the people who work for Onyx Off-Road are going to let me throw my new sunshade in his truck so I don't have to pack it on the bike with me all the way down there. And it means that I'll have a beautiful pop-up and a little bit more extra wiggle room and space to be comfortable since I will be riding down there instead of taking the truck camper. I'm very excited. I know that the motorcycle part of Overland Expo, like it's just like a little group unto itself, and I'm very excited. I know that Tim Notier and his wife, oh my god, I just forgot. No, I feel awful, I can't remember her name. Oh no. I know the Notiers will be there. I'm very excited to get to meet them in person. They have gone around the world on their beautiful KTM, 2 Up. I think that I have talked to you guys a little bit about their book when I read it a little while ago, like 2 Up and Overloaded by Tim Notier. And it was very good, and so I'm thrilled to get to meet them in person. And since I think this summer they started posting more videos on their YouTube channel, so definitely go check that out. For those watching after the fact, I'll try to link their YouTube channel down in the description. But I'm very excited. I know that Overland Expo notoriously is much more geared towards the 4-wheel overlanding crowd, but there is a little group of motorcyclists that will be there, and I'm very excited to meet all of them. Yay! Editing their video from River right now, Robin. Oh, I'm so excited to see that. Oh, I'm excited. Oh. Yes, I have been a little bit busy. Scott was just given a bottle of Whistle Pig 18. Good stuff. Ooh, I'll have to try that too. Thanks for the ideas. Buffalo Trace. Ah, classic. Classic. Montgomery Distillery. Yeah, Darren, that's right. Yes. Darren got to go to Rocky Mountain Roll this year and visit Montgomery Distillery with us in Missoula. And they're just really cool people and make some excellent, excellent whiskey. Whiskey? I don't even know how I just said that. Maybe I should slow down. Oh, brother thought it had already happened. I see. Yes, everybody tell Gary that he needs to come. Yes! Oh, I love this. This is wonderful. Hello from California Central Valley. Hello, Bob. Am I going to Shadetree's Campout in October? I don't know. I don't know. That is kind of a short turnaround to ride clear cross country. And not only for my finances, but also to warn my partner. So I'm gonna lean a little bit on the probably not side, but I make no promises. David got his ticket. Yay! Did my brother... Was there off camera? Oh, my brother is not here off camera. I'm sorry if that was confusing. My mom and my dad and my brother are watching together at their home in Montana. They are not here, unfortunately. Darren has the lowdown. You just have to show up early to get a good camping spot. Got it. Thank you, Darren. Hi, Anonymous Biker. It's wonderful to see you. Hello. Yay. I want to see you do 2 Up on the mini bike across Oregon. I would have to find the right partner for such a trip because mine probably would not enjoy that. Also, my partner is extremely tall. I have gotten him to ride on the back of the CB500X before, and even that is a little bit of a, like, you kind of figure out as you go, because the distance between my pegs and the passenger pegs are just not big enough. So every time I shift, he kicks me in the calves. So definitely, he probably won't be riding on the back of the mini bike anytime soon. I feel like I need to find a small person. Maybe we can convince Marissa to ride in the back of it. Marissa's a small person. G'day from Australia. Hi, Norman. It's wonderful to see you. Mason ADV is here. Holy biscuits. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello from Canada. That sounds like a fun trip to Flagstaff. I'm very excited. I feel my goal is to spend a decent amount of time in southern Utah because I feel like I have neglected it these past couple years since the last time that I was down there. So I'm very, very excited. I also have goals to see the north rim of the Grand Canyon, but we'll see how it all pans out, you know. Paul, how is the DJI Osmo Action working out? Wonderfully. Paul, are you also the person who kept asking me to make a video about my transition? Because I'm sorry, I haven't done it yet. For those who aren't aware, I sold my GoPro Hero 7 Black. Totally gone. I do have the GoPro Hero 5 still, but I have not used it since transitioning totally over to the Osmo Action. And part of the reason that I made the transition totally over DJI and got rid of all my GoPros is because the last trip that I used the GoPros on in, what was that? I think it was the Tour of Oregon. It was either the Tour of Oregon or it was the Idaho BDR, but I'm pretty sure it was the Tour of Oregon. We hit all of that rain, right, in the eastern half of the state, and even though I don't have a mic set up for the GoPro Hero 7, it's just all locked in the way that it's supposed to be waterproof, but anytime the temperature dropped below like 50 degrees, or if it was raining, or if it was especially humid outside, the GoPro would not work. I took batteries out, I reset everything, I restarted, factory reset, all of the things, and I just had a hell of a time trying to get that camera to work. And so a lot of the footage from like the rainy part of the trip is all Osmo Action footage because the GoPro wasn't working. And eventually, like, once it had dried out, like, once the weather was dry and it was back up above 50 degrees, it was working fine again. But even when I did the cross-country trip last year, anytime that it was hotter than, like, 85 degrees, or if it was colder than 50 degrees, the GoPro just had a hell of a time, and I actually had a lot of corrupted footage from that trip, from my first trip using it on the Magruder, and even I had some corrupted footage from the Oregon trip, which was really sad because I missed a couple of shots of like my brother that I thought were going to turn out really awesome and did not because the GoPro corrupted the footage, and I've used all kinds of different SD cards. It is the camera. This has been a very long process of like deduction of trying to figure out like if it is the batteries, if it is the SD cards, or if it's the software. And it's been a couple years. And it was the camera for me. So I sold it to a very dear friend. I hope that they're getting much better use out of it than I did. And I am a complete Osmo Action lady from here on out, which has been wonderful. And also, if you did not know, the mic adapter for the Osmo Action, so much smaller than the GoPro mic adapter and much easier to use. Which is how the Pan America video was able to happen with in-camera, like in-helmet audio, because that like whole system is so much simpler and more straightforward on the Osmo than it is on the GoPro. But yeah, I've been very, very happy with my decision. Not once have I had the Osmo Action freeze on me at all, whether it's 30 degrees, whether it's 102, it has just been perfect for what I needed to do, so... Yay! I know that Beers, Bikes, and Camping has come up with a very clever solution because there's no way to adjust the audio level in camera if you put the mic adapter in. So I know that Beers, Bikes, and Camping has a very clever solution for how to like add a little mod so that you can adjust the mic level volume on the camera. He talked to me about it at the cleanup yesterday. Unfortunately, he cannot be here on the live stream right now because he is at a wedding. But hopefully he'll let me know what that extra adapter is, and I can add it to the descriptions and that kind of stuff. Wonderful. Okay, let me find where I was again here. Robin Later Breaker. South Utah win! I may just take some time off and join you. So I leave for Overland Expo either the 17th or the 18th, depends on when I finish all of the video editing that I have to do before I leave. So probably middle of that week I'll end up in Utah, because the Overland Expo starts on the 24th, so I have to be in Flagstaff by the 24th. Yeah! I'm considering the DJI after seeing your recommendation. Yeah, I highly recommend it, and there's like super cheap right now. And which is why I bought the first one in the first place, because it was like on some super sale, and I bought one for giggles to just see how it compared, and was much happier with it than the GoPro. Was praying DJI would have updated action. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna come sooner than later, for sure. But unlike GoPro, I think that DJI is taking its sweet time to like make sure that the update is actually an update and not just a surface level update, if you know what I mean. Is the mic adapter working okay? Yeah, I have had 0 issues with the mic adapter. What Beards, Bikes, and Camping was having an issue with the audio level is because like if you talk very loudly and the mic is like right here in front of your face, you can blow out the audio pretty quickly. I don't talk very loudly in my helmet. Since I don't already have a habit of talking in my helmet anyway, when I do like make little comments, like it's to myself, so it's normally a pretty lower volume. I think if you go back and watch the Pan America video, I think there's like a handful of times that it probably spiked out, but I was able to adjust that okay in Premiere Pro. There is a little bit of peaking at a couple points, but for the most part it was adjustable. I think it's just a matter of either like getting that extra piece that Beards, Bikes, and Camping has to be able to adjust the level manually, or just talk quieter to yourself. I don't know. And know that you're not going to get super usable audio when you're going freeway speeds, you know. And that wasn't something that I was looking for anyway. I just wanted to be able to capture a little bit more clearly my odd little comments to myself when I'm riding around the backcountry, and I'm only going like between 25 and 45 at that point anyhow. Anonymous Biker, you're going to Tampa. Oh, that is not a question for me. I'm a good influencer. Thanks, Paul. Richard Steffen's Creaky Rider just did S Utah on his Ural gear up. You are going to love it. Yeah, I'm very excited. I feel like there's nothing about Southern Utah that can disappoint besides crowds. Am I going to visit Valley of the Gods and Moki Dugway? I don't know if I'll have time to do Moki Dugway. I am on a deadline. I do have to be at the event at a certain point in time, and unfortunately, since I do need to pre-edit quite a few videos to like be ahead of myself so that I can do this trip, I don't think I'm going to be able to leave any earlier than next Friday or Saturday. So I have like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days to get to Flagstaff, and it's still quite a distance from Portland, Oregon to get there. So more than likely it's going to be a decent amount of slab. Maybe on the way back to Oregon, I don't know, it depends on how I feel after the event. After big events like that, I do tend to be a little bit socially drained. My battery gets depleted quite heftily, so we'll see if I even have the energy to do that kind of stuff after the event. I don't know. I don't make any promises. Yeah. I got a new dry bag, and I'm already packed with my early bird ticket for Rocky Mountain World 2022 too. That's awesome, David. Hi! Hello, hope you are all doing well. Amanda, what is the beverage of choice for tonight? Okay, for those who missed our opening sequence, I have some lovely Easy Rider Kentucky bourbon that is bottled here in Hood River, Oregon. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. And some Coke in my cute little Easy Rider mug. It is adorable. Okay, Turner, what's your question? You gotta spit it out. You know, there's a little bit of a delay here, so I'll try to buffer for you. I think that my dad also had a question about how the cleanup day went yesterday. It went awesome. For those who did not know, I organized a like pack it out, clean it up day in conjunction with Onyx Off-Road to try to give back to our public lands. And we did this one in the Tillamook State Forest. I contacted Tillamook State Forest, made sure that it was going to be kosher, asked them where we could do the most good is the simplest version of that statement. Where we could do the most good, where the highest traffic is, and where they see the most amount of trash. So we went there. I was super impressed with the group that came out. Thank you everybody who was able to show support. I think we had 15, 17 people show up. It was super cool. I was so worried that it was really just gonna be like Dork, Beard, and Anna and I and our representative from Onyx, but I was extremely impressed and relieved by all the wonderful people who showed up to support and pick up garbage. A couple people found some dirty diapers. I found a broken pipe. Circus oh my gosh. Circus Bear Moto? Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure it's Circus Baramoto. He found a discarded child's Mickey Mouse t-shirt. So that was lovely. And then, of course, we found our fair share of used toilet paper in the bush, even though there's 2 very accessible bathrooms there. And they're not disgusting by any means. It's just a normal pit toilet like you would find anywhere else. That was interesting. And it led me to try to remind people that, hey, like, please don't bury your toilet paper out in the woods. Please don't leave toilet paper out in the woods or in the desert. Even if you mean well by burying it, animals still dig it up and will spread it all over the place. So please pack it out if you do use toilet paper, or if you're a lady and you're not going number 2, highly encourage you to carry a P-Reg. They're awesome. They're antimicrobial, highly recommended. I particularly love a brand called Kula Cloth, Kula. They're awesome. If you have not tried them, highly recommended. There's also things called backcountry bidets, which is like essentially a little nozzle you put on a water bottle and you spritz yourself with it and clean yourself dry. Ideal. There are ways to get around having to pack out dirty toilet paper. Okay. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox for a second and answer Turner's question. When you're in Arizona, come to Phoenix and you can explore. No. That's not okay. Goodbye. You can call me Luna if that's easier. Oh, thank you, Phoenix. I waved towards Corvallis as we were heading towards the Magruder last weekend. Elk City to Yellow Pine was amazing. Hope you get to do it soon. Thank you. I have done the Magruder. I just haven't gotten to do the rest of that part of Yellow Pine. I waved. Yep. I answered that one already. Wonderful. Awesome. Yay. Does anybody else have like wonderful trips planned for the end of summer / fall? I'm excited for fall, you guys. I'm unreasonably excited for fall. Particularly like the change of the colors, and like there's this beautiful little gap in the season where you can like wear wonderful like easy layers underneath your riding gear and be comfortable. You're not sweating to death and you're not cold AF and you don't have to wear heated gear. I'm very excited about this little sliver of time. Robin, question about Rimmer. I was so impressed with the event you and your family put on. The question, how long did the Redneck Shower Stand? That was an awesome setup. I don't know. I'll have to ask Dad. I know it was there after I left, and I was there for a few more days longer than I was supposed to be. But I'm sure Dad had to take it down because I think that he uses that truck for other things. Mom, will you ask Dad how long the Redneck Shower stayed there, or if it's still there? For those who did not join us for Rocky Mountain Roll, we made... I feel like it was a very ingenuitive setup. It was a bunch of water totes, and like farmer water totes. So they're big. They're like 300, 400 gallon totes, and we put them on a bunch of oh my god, pallets on the bed of a very large pickup. It's not a pickup, Amanda. But it's not a semi truck either. It's a big flatbed. And Dad got a bunch of fittings to put a kind of spray nozzle head on it, which is actually one of those heads that you use to like water your plants, but was like perfect for a shower. And you just turn the nozzle, and the pressure from the like 300, 400 gallons meant like the water pressure was actually awesome. But yeah, it was brilliant actually. David can't wait for fall. Yes, I'm waiting on a new handlebar to come, and so I can be comfortable on the bike. So no trips until that happens. Okay, well, I'll keep my fingers very crossed for you so that it comes very quickly. I'm gonna try another couple of nights moto camping. Oh, Paul, that's exciting! I'm excited for you. That's wonderful. Have I ever considered international riding tours? Yes and no. I mean, like, I don't know if I would, I don't know if I would be able to pay for, like, an official tour, like, where they provide the bike and you pay kind of an all-inclusive tab for the hotel and like the group riding experience. I have ridden to Baja before with a group. That was more of an informal tour. Like, we didn't pay a tour company or anything like that. We went down together. I do really want to go back to Baja. Probably with way less people. I think it would be incredible to ride in places like Scotland and Italy, and like just Europe in general looks gorgeous for riding. And I do still really want to go to Mongolia, and I still really, really want to go to China. But those are very fiscally high stake things. Is that even a sentence that made sense? They're very expensive, and at this point in my life, it's not really something that I can afford or justify. Particularly when there's still so much riding that I can do here in the United States that I have not done yet. Yeah. I still haven't gotten to get up to the northeast part of our beautiful country, and all of those beautiful little states that I have not visited yet. I don't know. Maybe ask me again once I've ridden all 50 states. Yeah. Two Babes Right Out, Angel's Crest, and Alita's Campout. Awesome! You're telling me that I'm busy, Robin. You sound busy. Hi, Patrick. Thanks so much for visiting us here. Thank you. David, I have all of your recommendations written down in a map. Believe me, I've got it. Still there, just no water. Okay, so the official report from Dad is that the Redneck Shower is still there. There's just no water in it right now. Oh, that's right, we did empty it. I forgot. That way it wouldn't grow algae. I am looking forward to the leaves changing. They're starting to turn now at the summit over 26. I have 2 more rides planned for the fall colors over Mount Hood. Oh, that's very exciting. Yes. Mount Hood is gorgeous when the fall hits and all the leaves start changing. Oh, so good. Heading to Idaho Panhandle next week. I have 9 days to explore Idaho and Montana. Ooh, yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that's going to be a blast. I hope that the smoke is cleared up for you. Make sure that you check NC Web or Onyx Off-Road actually has an overlay now for forest fires, active forest fires, which is awesome, which was super useful for the Orygun Run. But yeah, just make sure that you check where the active wildfires are so you can avoid the worst affected areas. That would be awesome. Redneck Shower will be in my video on Tuesday. Yes. Yeah. If you guys are not following Robin the Lady Biker already, you should definitely do so 100%. She is awesome. And also because I'm biased and she'll be posting a video about Rocky Mountain Roll soon. So my full retirement is close. I want to ride right up till it's just too cold. A few rides to northern Vermont and out to upstate New York. Ooh, isn't it like prime leaf peaking or whatever it's called up there? Like, that's all that I hear about the Northeast is like leaf peeping when the seasons change. Tour Tech Rally in Plains, Washington this next weekend. Definitely. Gary, I hope you have a wonderful time. Just finished the Bill Dragoo training class at Wallen Wayne weekend. ADV Rally had 276 people register for the rally. Holy biscuits. Wow. I hope that you had an awesome time and you learned lots of things from Bill Dragoo. I always hear really excellent things about him. Next weekend, camping and riding in Kentucky. Heck yes, Lynn! I hope that you have a wonderful time. I also hope that you had a great time in Colorado. I'm sorry you weren't able to make it up to Rocky Mountain Roll because of the smoke, but I hope that you had a blast anyway. The roads in Ireland are awesome. Yes, I've heard very excellent things. Yes. Assuming I win the lottery, I would certainly sponsor you in that event. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. Soulsman ABB, thank you for all your content. Well, thank you for being here and supporting me. This would not be possible without all of you, so I appreciate you. Cheers to you. Thank you very much. I should ride up to Canada next year and visit British Columbia. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I barely knew what I was going to do at the end of this year. I actually still don't know what I'm going to do the next couple months, but that's fine. Hello from Southern California. I rode along the Oregon coast last month. The onshore wind is no joke. For real. Oh my goodness. You know, people talk about how gorgeous like the 101 and Highway 1 are and doing like the whole Pacific Coast Highway, but nobody talks about how horrendous the wind is and how like on average it's at least 10 degrees colder on the coast than it is inland. Oh my gosh, you guys, especially the further you get north, like Oregon and Washington coast, like very windy, very cold. And also like the northern parts of California along the coast, extremely foggy, so foggy. Oh my goodness. Lindsay is here! Hello! Okay, the leaves aren't out yet. Maybe in a week or two. Thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate you. October is a zoo on New Hampshire and Vermont roads. That's what I thought. Foliage peepers. Got it. Okay. One thing I can say about riding in Utah and Arizona is to check the wind forecast each day. Noted, Richard. Thank you. Thank you. I will try to keep that in mind. Hi, Wendy. Northeast leaves. Not quite yet. Couple weeks. Okay. Got it. When it's too cold in the USA, pack the bags, bikes, and come down to Australia, where it will be nice and warm. Norman, if I can't afford to go to like the UK or anywhere in Europe, I don't know if I can afford a plane ticket to Australia from the United States. But it sounds amazing, but also, whew, yeah. Jupiter, Florida here. Just wanted to say what you do and the information you give is great, and I want to say thank you. Thank you, Jupiter. I appreciate that. I appreciate that wonderful people like you make it worth all of the effort and the many, many hours spent editing. Have you ever ridden through Austin, Texas? I have not been through Austin. I have been through Amarillo. I did that. No, I have not gone through the great big state yet. It is on my to-do list, believe me. Hi, Moto Sally. It's wonderful to see you. Hello. Raging Redneck found memories of crossing the Astoria Bridge many years ago in a Chevette, practically on two wheels. Glad I wasn't on a bike. Yes, the Astoria Bridge is no joke. Is very, very long, and it crosses the Columbia Gorge. For those who don't know where that is, it's like the opening of the Columbia Gorge between Oregon and Washington, and it is quite the expanse. And the wind is insane, obviously, because you're straight up exposed to the ocean. But I have ridden across it on the bike. It's not that terrible, but I think that there are times when the wind is pretty bad, but I think that they do wind advisories and warnings when it's like too extreme for like motorcycles to cross. Hi, Lindsay. Just spent a lovely couple of hours wrestling with my vinyl floor adhesive. Finally cleaned up and making pancakes for dinner. Oh, that's good. For those who don't know, Lindsay Daly is a wonderful human being. She also has a YouTube channel, and she is building out a van right now. And I have loved following her because she is not somebody who like already has all of this experience in like building and that kind of stuff. So following along with her building a van is what I feel like I would feel like building a van. I think that made sense. It's a very fun time, so definitely go check out her channel. Any advice about riding from Texas to California? I'm wondering about the neat passing through the desert. Yes. My advice is to, if you can, bring an umbrella, so if you do break down along the route, you have shade. Make sure that you have lots and lots of water. If you don't want to wear a hydration backpack with a minimum of 2 liters of water, ideally 2.5 liters of water. If you don't want to wear one, you can always like strap the backpack or just a hydration bladder to like your passenger seat or someplace, or even under your tank bag, and just be able to pick up the hose and drink when you need to. I really think it is imperative to have some way to stay hydrated while riding when you're going through an extremely hot environment like that. Hot and windy for sure, because that's dehydrating you just as fast. I rode with a wonderful human being that did not have a hydration bladder through some very hot environments this year, and they like were suffering much more than I was, because I was able to drink water between stops, even stopping like every 30 to 40 minutes to like so they could take a break and drink water out of their water bottle was not enough. So highly recommend a hydration bladder. If you do not own one already, highly recommended. You can get hydration backpacks that are just for the hydration bladder, and that will not add a whole ton of weight to your shoulders. But again, if you do not want to wear one, that is absolutely okay. You can strap it to your duffel and just have like run the hose along the side. Just make sure that you can lift it up to your mouth while you're riding. Even if you have a full face, you can like shove the valve pipe through the bottom of like your helmet and be able to drink while you're riding. That is so important. Hydration is so important. And if you get halfway through the day and if you feel like you've been drinking a lot of water, but you still feel like your face is bright red and you're feeling the effects of heat exhaustion, that means that you are running out of electrolytes. So I highly recommend also having like either a separate water bottle for electrolyte tablets or something like that. I really like Nuun tablets, N-U-U-N, Nuun tablets. You drop them in like a bottle of water, it dissolves. I like those the most, but there's a bunch of other different like packets of electrolytes that you can get and that kind of stuff. I like putting it in a separate water bottle because any kind of electrolyte that you get is going to leave kind of a film on the bottle, and it's way easier to clean a water bottle than it is to clean a hydration backpack. But yeah, stay hydrated. Have a way to make your own shade if you need it, and like even if you don't break down, being able to stop when you start to feel heat exhaustion and create your own shade is very important. Yeah. Look into cooling vests if you don't have one of those already. And making sure that like the idea, and I got this question quite a lot when we were on our way to the beginning of the Idaho BDR, when we were stopped at stops like at rest areas, that kind of stuff. People who thought that I was insane for being fully geared up, even though it was above 98 degrees. It was like 100 and something, 102 in southern Idaho when we were on our way to the beginning of the Idaho BDR. But the whole idea is to make sure that you can produce sweat. You don't want your sweat to be evaporating faster than it can cool you. So it is extremely important for you to be covered up. And like, I'm not trying to push anything on anybody, but having a textile jacket that has a bunch of vents, that way you are armored up in case you do crash and you're protected, but also all those vents are allowing wind to go through, so you're covered up. It's allowing you to sweat and not like have that sweat evaporate faster than it can cool you, and then the wind going through the vents in a textile jacket is going to allow a breeze to contact that sweat and evaporate to cool you. I know it's not super ideal, especially when you have to stop and you take off like a jacket and put it on and you're already all sweaty, but believe me, it does work. Yeah, that's what I got. I camped at Medicine Rocks last week after your recommendation. Thanks, loved it. Awesome, Rick. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I love it there. Not fun through Lubbock when you're traveling through Texas, for real. These live streams always make me want to set up my tent in my living room. I love that. That's awesome. Sean, exposing yourself on bridges again. Yep, always. Yeah. Check the weather. Yes, that's probably the simplest recommendation for sure. I'm doing it, Lindsay, about her van. I'm doing it very badly. My mechanical experience pales in comparison to yours. You are my big inspiration to get out and do the thing. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. That's awesome. Like, mechanically wise, maybe, but I feel like we're on the same level as far as, like, building things, like putting a floor in your van, having to build cabinets, doing water and electrical. We're probably on the same point on that stuff. Using cooling vest, this helps in the heat across the desert for sure. Hydration pack is great advice that saved us when we rode through the Hell's Canyon and through the Mojave, for sure. Yes. Sorry, I'm late. Hi, Justin. It's wonderful to see you. Thanks for being here. I did the desert this summer without a hydration bladder, and it was a struggle. Listen to Amanda. Thank you. You always need more water than you think. For sure. Like, there's a reason that my hydration bladder is 2.5 liters. I have a 18-ounce water bottle, and then I have four extra liters and a water bladder on the back of my bike. Like, water is imperative, and it's very important for all those things to be as full as often as possible. You stop at a gas station and your hydration bladder is only half full, go fill it up. I have not been to a gas station yet that has not allowed me to fill up my water at, like, the soda fountain thing. All you have to do is go in, ask if it's okay for you to fill up your water bottle or your water bladder. They'll probably say, yeah, fine. And you go fill it up. Come back. I always ask if I need to pay. I've never had anybody tell me that I had to pay, but I always ask just as a courtesy. But yeah, most of those soda fountains has like a button for water amongst all the sodas. So you, my pro tip is to hit that water button before you start filling up your water bladder, and make sure that you clear out the nozzle. I did have one instance where I went in there, I didn't clear it out before I started filling my water bladder, and I hit the water button, and just a little bit of soda got into it. So one, the water tasted kind of a little bit weird, but also a couple weeks later, my water bladder molded from the sugar and the little bit of soda that got in my water bladder, which is not ideal. It's a pain in the royal butt to clean out a hydration bladder, okay? So, just, yeah, pro tip. Push the button for a couple seconds, let it clear out, and then fill up your water bottle or your water bladder. A right angle bite valve really helps with a full face helmet, and Noon tablets rock. Recently tried them on your recommendation. Awesome. I'm glad that you like them as much as I do, for sure. Our summer is just spooling up in Australia, and hydration is very important. Yes. Moscow Moto has a water bladder in their Noma tank bag. Works awesome. Yes, I have heard that. Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Some of us need our tank bag for our cameras, so. Lifted above, body temp is 98.6. If the ambient temperatures are higher and sweat is reduced, environmental heat is being put in the body rather than heat taken out of it. Jacket with vents is a controlled environment. Yes! Thank you. Thank you, science. Hydration is serious business for sure. Yes! I freeze my bladder and fill it with water as I go. Cold water for ages. For sure. Also, like most places, as soon as they give you permission, you can like fill your hydration bladder like half full of the ice and then fill it with water. That is also awesome. I got rid of mine rather than clean it. That probably would have been the easier way out, for sure. When it's really hot, start riding early morning, still dark out, and get your miles in before the hardest part of the day, for sure. I also have heard a lot of people talk about that, and then like finding a good rest area with a nice, cool, like overhang place to take a nap in, and take a little siesta, and then continue on after the peak of the day. Clean the bladder at each stop that you can. Yeah, I clean the bladder after a trip. I don't put Noon tablets in my bladder either. I guess if you put Noon tablets or some kind of electrolytes in your water bladder, that would probably be a different thing. Then yeah, you would want to rinse it out pretty good. But I don't want to take all the brushes and stuff necessarily to properly clean out my water bladder on a trip. I just wait until I get home, and then I'll clean it out and try to dry it out as much as I possibly can. It's not a super great idea to leave water in your hydration bladder if you're not actively using it. I guess if you were a runner and you use the same hydration bladder for a trip as you do when you're home running, maybe that would be different, but it's still a good idea to dry out, like clean, rinse out your hydration bladder once in a while and let it dry fully. so that you don't get any kind of bacteria buildup in there. Yeah. I carry some cleaning tablets with me on my scooter. Maybe I'm just lazy. I'm just lazy. I know that they make there's this thing called Bone Dry, BON Dry, and it's like a little insert thing that you can put in hydration bladders to help make sure that it dries out properly. I only put water in my water bladder, clean after trips. Yes! Thank you, Darren. Yeah. Amanda, literally me sitting here with my hydration bladder with leftover water in it from my run today. I mean, but like, don't you run like all the time? I don't know. It's like, it's way better than me. Like, I'll do a trip and like, you know, use the water bladder the whole time, just continuously filling it up. And like most of my trips are either a week to 2 weeks and then come back. And then like a week after my trip, like my water bottle is still half full. And I'm like, all right, I should rinse it out and do stuff with it. But apart from the one time of actually getting soda in it, I haven't had one mold. That was the only time that I've had one mold, but I only put water on my water bladder. I just buy a new one every other year. Oh, no. Suggestions for cleaning, vinegar or bleach. There's this stuff called, there's these tablets called Bottle Bright, and I love them. I use them to clean my water bottles, and they have worked out awesome for my water bladder. You do need to double check like the packaging and make sure that it's safe for your specific water bladder, because I know that it can be bad for certain kinds of silicone and that kind of stuff. I have heard really excellent things about vinegar. I wouldn't personally add bleach to your water bladder. Vinegar is a much better idea in my personal opinion. Obviously, everybody's opinions is different. But Bottle Bright tablets, highly recommended by me. That's also what I use to clean out my water bottles that I put Noon tablets in, because that scum that like builds up around the walls of the water bottle after you put a tablet in it is really hard to scrub off. And the Bottle Bright just makes easy work of it. All you have to do is like fill it up with water, you add Bottle Bright to it, you let it sit for a couple hours, maybe longer if the buildup is really bad. You come back with like a good brush, like one of those long handle brushes, like bottle brushes. You go in and you scrub it, dump it out, rinse it a couple more times. It is awesome. Highly recommended. There are full-blown kits for cleaning out a water bladder that have like the nice big long like crazy looking brush so that you can actually clean out the whole hose for your water bladder if you do have any kind of like growth happening in the hose for your water bladder. Highly recommend those kits because I don't think you can get that brush any other way. Other than that, if you're just cleaning the bladder itself, if you have a bottle brush already, one with a long handle where like the bristles are just like on the one side and are kind of curved, that has worked pretty awesome for me. I do really want to get one of those bone dry things, BON dry, and it's like an insertion thing that you put in after you have cleaned out the water bladder and are ready to get it dry, and it inserts in the whole bladder to make sure that it absorbs all the moisture. Otherwise, it can be kind of a pain to keep the water bladder open enough for it to dry properly. But you can like stick like spatulas or other stuff up into the bladder to make sure that the sides of the bladder aren't touching to allow all that air to get up in there so it dries properly. Yeah. I didn't know there was so much interest about this. I have talked to Moto Camp Nerd about writing a blog about this, so if you guys are down for that information, I would totally write a whole blog post about that. But yeah. What water filter do you use when in remote areas? I have the Sawyer Squeeze, the normal one, not the mini. And that works pretty well for my uses because I'm not filtering a lot of water. It's very rarely that I am in the backcountry long enough to have to filter water. We did have to do that on the Idaho BDR, mostly just because I used up the rest of my water putting out a campfire that somebody else left and did not put out properly. If you go camping and there isn't a fire ban and you have a campfire, please put it out properly. make sure that you dump a lot of water in it, you stir it all up, and if you can't put your hand in it, it's not out yet. We camped with a very nice gentleman, but unfortunately when he left the next morning, he didn't put out his fire properly. The night before, I was like, this is all you, dude. Like, you need to put it out, because I don't have campfires when I go camping. Just not something that I do, because I'm from Montana. I'm very familiar with forest fires, and if I don't imperatively need a campfire for warmth or to cook food, I don't make one. I have a little camp stove. It's very compact, very easy to put out. It doesn't need to be babysat, all of those things. So I just don't do campfires when I'm camping. And this gentleman was like, yeah, no, I got it. You know, I'm a retired, firefighter, that kind of stuff. And the next morning he packed up, you know, stirred the campfire around, and he left, and I went over to check, and I'm so glad that I did, because he hadn't put it out. I went to touch, and I singed the tips of my fingers before I even put my hand all the way in the ashes. So I used the rest of my water. Tara also put water in it so that we could stir it up and make sure that the fire was put out completely. And that was the whole reason that I had to stop and filter more water before we got to the next town. Because I was totally out of water, I used all of it to put out his fire. Yeah. I have strong feelings about things, and I try not to impress my opinion on other people, but like that is one of those things that just irks me to no end. And yeah. Anyway, I use the Sawyer squeeze. Sorry for the small tangent. But yeah, like that trip on the Idaho BDR I think is one of the only times that I have been in the backcountry so long that I've had to filter water. Again, I wouldn't have had to if I hadn't had to use all the rest of my water to put out somebody else's fire. Because like most of the time, even on a BDR, the gap between towns isn't so far that you would have to filter your own water, because you have to go like there's only a certain amount of distance between towns to make sure that there's as little space as possible, so you can always get gas, or you can get gas when you need to. Especially here in the United States. But I've also heard excellent things about the Grail filter, Grayl, especially the one that's like built into the water bottle. So you just fill up the water bottle and you push the top down, and it filters the water. And that's super good. I've heard that it has a very high flow rate. I know people who spend a lot of time in the backcountry, especially hikers, who really like the MSR filter. I can't remember the name of it, but that's like a bag-to-bag filter. So you have one bag, and then you have the filter in the middle, and you have the other bag, and it's like a gravity-fed system. That way you're not having to be actively filtering the water. You can just like fill up the dirty bag, hang it, and let it do its thing, and while you go do something else. The Sawyer squeeze is a very active filter. You have to be doing it. I know that you can set up as a gravity filter, but its rate of flow is much, much lower if you're not actively squeezing the water through the filter into a clean thing. For those who aren't super familiar with filtering water in the backcountry, it's also incredibly important to make sure that you have a designated dirty water container, whether that's a bladder or a water bottle or some other kind of container for the water, the dirty water that you collect from a water source. And then it connects to a filter, and then you have a clean, like designated clean water bladder. Because if you're mixing them up, then you might as well not even be filtering, because the enzymes that could make you sick are in both containers. So yeah. That's why we filter water. Anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent. Sorry. Just gonna use it again tomorrow, but I do procrastinate on cleaning it too much. Yeah. That's what I thought, Lindsay. I thought you used it a lot. Look up water cleaning tablets on Amazon. This is true, Falco. Thank you. Have I tried MotoJug? I have half gallon mounted on my passenger footrest. I have not tried MotoJug. I know that Carrie, the gal that I did, followed her when she was doing her 1K in a day from Babes Right Out in 2019. She has a new system where she just like mounted like essentially a big, like, I think it's a gallon water jug next to her saddlebag, and then she ran a hose along the bike frame up. So like There are ways to get around having to wear a hydration backpack, for sure. I only have to look into Bottle Bright. Yeah, we put whisks in the mouth of our water bladder to hold them open so they can dry. Smart, Robin. I like the way that you work. Just drink your bourbon right out of it when you're at home. Nothing will grow in it. Oh my god. I guess that depends on the bourbon, because there are certain bourbons that have sugars in them that will eventually mold. So, for cleaning, check out a home brewing shop for cleaning solutions that won't leave any flavors. Yeah. Can we say bladder more? No. Well, yes. Yeah. Why, Sean? Do you have to pee now? Also, when you screw up a exercise in the Dragoo training class, the water bladder is soft to land on. I found that out the hard way. Nice and soft to land on. Well, I mean, that makes sense. It's like landing on a waterbed. Yeah! Peter K, I am a fighter. I carry a collapsible shovel. Good. Yes. Wonderful. Let the liquor do the thing. I am the liquor. Wow, this is a wonderful conversation. Fire safety is not optional. I say preach. Thank you, Falkra. Appreciate you. Fire is serious business. I survived an apartment fire in March. Oh my god. I'm so glad that you're okay, Smokey. Wow. Holy business. As a fellow Montanan, I absolutely agree. Cannot stress fire safety enough. We breathe the evidence daily. For real. This year especially was horrendously bad. I mean, that doesn't make sense because 2020 was also really, really bad. It's just been really bad. Please, please put out your campfires or just don't have one, you know? I know that some people like think that campfires are imperative to the camping experience, but as an avid camper that has been doing it for the last like 8-9 years, and then plus before I was even a motorcycle camper, we only built campfires when we absolutely needed it for warmth or because like whatever stove we brought did not work. That's it. Like camping is not an integral part to the camping experience. And also like everybody who's been camping since like during fire bans during the summer, you know, like it's not an important part of the camping experience. Like that just, yeah. Improperly extinguished fires are people looking to steal property value and endanger lives. It's a consequence that can get out of control fast. Too critical to be careless about it. Yeah. Are you ever going to do another trip on Lazarus, even if it's just an overnight? Is Lazarus still running? Oh, gosh. Oh, what a question. Oh, no. Okay. The embarrassing truth is that Lazarus hasn't run since 2017. Yeah, I think that was the last time that I had her running. Oh my god, that sounds atrocious. I am a terrible motorcycle mom. No, that's not entirely true. I think Dad came over in like 2019 or something like that. 2020, 2019. One of the times when my parents came over to Portland and were staying with me, and I was trying my damnedest to get Lazarus running again, and he got to run for a few minutes. I got to run for a few minutes. I think that I made a video during that one little brief moment where I got Lazarus running for a brief few minutes, and long story short, I need to adjust the float bowls and the carburetors again, and I just haven't had the time to address it directly, where I haven't been on a trip or been editing a trip so that I can go on another trip. Yeah. It's very embarrassing. The shorter answer to your question is she's not running right now. I do really, really want to go on another trip with Lazarus. It is something that is going to happen. I will not ever get rid of Lazarus. She is my baby. And even if I have to sell all the rest of my bikes, Lazarus will never go. And I made that promise to myself after a few months after I bought her. I just will not. I have heard way too many stories of people who have sold their first bike and just regretted it eternally, and either ended up buying another version of their first bike or found their first bike again and bought it back. Those kinds of things. I just will not give her up. Absolutely not. Also because it's very difficult to find her nowadays, like that model, like any of the GS 850s. It's very, very difficult to find those bikes that haven't already been stripped and made into cafe racers that have like had all these modifications made to them already. So she's kind of a gem, and I refuse to get rid of her. I am hoping that like this winter, maybe I obviously I make no promises, but this winter maybe I hope to be able to dedicate more time to her, so that I can like get her properly running again the way that she should be. Part of the reason that Lazarus has been kind of on the sidelines, when I got home in 2016 from the pilgrimage, I decided that like it had been too long that she had been running like half cocked. Like she needed my attention so that she could run the way that she's meant to run. For the whole of the pilgrimage, I had an atrocious leak out of my top end. The valve cover gasket was totally destroyed essentially during the whole of the pilgrimage. So I had all of like that black goop coming out of my valve cover, and it just like drenched my riding pants or like whatever I was wearing. Like the legs were just covered in that black sooty grossness. And when I got back, I was like, this is it. She has done this for me. She made it all the way back here. I am going to put the money in to make sure that she can run properly because she deserves it. It took me an embarrassing 1 year, yes, almost a whole year, to get a valve cover gasket that would work for my bike, because like some people don't know how to label stuff on eBay. And then get her put back together and running again. She did run for a short while. I took her to one of the bike shows that I did when I worked at Lazarus, which was amazing, and I rode her all over Clackamas County. And shortly after that, I parked her so that I could do a bunch of trips on the Tiger and Briarios. And of course, I don't know if you know, but if you park an old carbureted motorcycle, she gets angry and she wants more attention. So I cleaned out the carburetors and put her back together, and at some point, I think one of the floats has corroded and it's not sitting where it's supposed to, so she's not getting a fuel mixture that she needs. Wow, that was a very long explanation for a very simple question. Anyway, yeah. I would love to ride Lazarus again. Hopefully this winter I can make a couple storytime videos or something in the process of working on her, so that I can dedicate more time to making her live again, as her name dictates. How do you deal with bears at night? Well, that was a completely different question. Well, I don't camp in a lot of bear active areas. Okay, so the simplest answer to this question is you can carry bear spray. Make sure that you know how to hang your food properly. Ideally, what I do is make sure that if I am going to camp in a bear active area, that I camp in a campground that already has bear-proof food containers, so that I don't have to hang my food. If you are going to be camping a lot in a bear active area, if you live in a very bear active area, then I feel like it's absolutely worth it for you to invest in a thing called a bear vault, which is like a circular food container that you can put all of your smelly items in. You do absolutely need to put more than just your food in that bear vault. You need to include soap, shampoos, like body wet wipes have to go into that. Anything with a scent, like your toothpaste, needs to go into it. Anything with like that smells good, a bear is going to think is going to be food. So you have to include all of that in your bear vault. Or if you do not have a bear vault, or if you don't camp in bear active areas super often, and you are not camped in a campground that has a bear safe container for each campsite, then you need to hang anything that has those kinds of smelly items in it. And soaps, toothpaste, all the things that I just mentioned. Even bug spray is also a smelly thing that needs to be put away. Yeah, and I will link again down in the description resources to how to properly hang food and smelly items in bear active areas. I do have a couple other videos where I talked about this specifically that will also have links down in the description to resources for you if you're camping in a bear active area. But yeah, the simplest answer to that question is if I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time in a bear active area, I will buy bear spray. And I will make sure that I camp in campgrounds that do have bear safe food containers. Yep. Also, talk to yourself a lot. Bear bells and bear whistles do not work. They actually are an instigator. They're like, what is that? I don't know what that is. Let me go look at that. But the thing that identifies us as human is speech. So if you talk to yourself, if you sing to yourself, a bear is going to know that that is a human. I don't want to fuck with that. Oh my gosh. Excuse my language. I'm so sorry. I don't want to mess with that. And, yeah. So talk to yourself, do all those things, carry bear spray if you are concerned. But ideally, preventative is what we want, not, like, defensive, if that makes sense. Yeah! God, I feel like such an amateur. My hydration system is a bunch of water bottles stuffed into my saddlebags. Let's see, where was I? Here we go. Don't be embarrassed. I have bikes that haven't run in 10 years. Oh, wow. Okay, I feel a little bit better. Thank you. Can you give us some background on how you got involved with Revzilla ADV Fest? Absolutely, Charles. The simplest answer to that question is that I have been a Revzilla affiliate for at least a couple years. Two years maybe. I signed up for the affiliate program. I finally got approved. I have applied a couple times, but I finally reached a threshold where I got approved. And so a bunch of, like, when I link my riding gear and that kind of stuff, those are Revzilla affiliate links. And I think that I have either made enough sales that they have noticed me, or a couple of people who work at Revzilla talked about me and know who I am, which is super cool. And they asked me if I wanted to go to ADV Fest as, like, a representative and make a video about it. And I was like, heck yes. And it was a super awesome experience. And I think the main thing is that, like, I am a person in that niche. Whereas, like, Revzilla's Motovest was a lot of other motovloggers that just do street and that kind of stuff. And I am obviously an ADV person, so it made sense to invite me to ADV Fest. But yeah, that's it. I got an email. They were like, do you want to go? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, cool, will you make a video? And I'm like, cool, yeah. That's it. I was actually really, really surprised once I got there, like, how many Revzilla people actually know who I am and have watched my content. That was really cool. It was a blast. I'm still really glad that I took the truck camper, trailer issues and all, because it was really, really nice after, like, running around and trying to film and capture everything all day. And it's totally a different feel when you're capturing something for somebody else versus for yourself. And it was extremely exhausting. In a good way. Like, I had a blast, but it is really tiring. And so I was really glad that we had the truck camper, that I could, like, get into a quote-unquote real bed every night. And that my brother was able to come with me because I took the truck camper. And, like, I can make real food, all of those things. So glad that I took the truck camper. It also made it so that I could bring that nice big pop-up, and it kind of created, like, a nice little community area for the people who camped around us. And that was awesome. Yeah. And thinking back on it now, like, one of my biggest reasons should have been, like, oh, if I ride one of these trails and screw up my bike, I, like, hope that I will be able to get it home somehow. So that would have also been a big reason if I had been thinking more ahead of things. But it's an excellent excuse to trailer a bike to those kinds of events, so that if you do ride one of the gnarly trails and screw up your bike, you don't have to worry about fixing it where you are. You can still take it home and fix it when you get home. Yeah. Has anyone ever caused trouble at Rocky Mountain Roll and had to give them the boot? The first year is really the only year where I wanted to throw somebody out. And that year there was only like 18 people. I knew like 2 or 3 of them before the event, and there happened to be a certain gentleman who came who was not Rocky Mountain Roll material, is the simplest way to say that. He ended up going over to a trash pit and pulling out a bunch of wood to throw on the fire, which obviously, like, we had firewood. There was designated firewood right next to the fire. This gentleman had to go out of his way, very inebriated, to the trash pit, way, way away, and drag it all the way back to the fire pit. And it was like this big, big, like, piece of construction wood. And I was like, could you not? And he just looked at me and dropped it in the fire pit anyway. And yeah. Long story short, he is banned. He will not be returning. The people who came with him were very kind the next day. They cleaned up his mess and apologized for him profusely. But that is the only time that we've ever had anybody who is just like very, very, like, will not be coming back. Thankfully, I have not had to like actually physically boot anybody from the property, which has been lovely. I would like to keep it that way. Thank you. I think for the most part, people who want to come and are willing to camp in a field full of cow patties aren't normally the kind of people who need to be booted. I think, if that makes sense. And since then, I haven't had anybody that I've had to remove from the property or had to ban since then. I've only had to ban the one person. I would like to keep that record intact. And the like whole reason that we have been able to continue the event is because I have not had to ban people. I think that if I had to ban multiple people multiple times, I don't think mom and dad would be super down with letting that event continue. And since they own the property, we are beholden to them to let us continue doing it. So, yeah. When your hobby and your job combines good times with no limit to do things you wish to do. Yes. Yeah. I guess the CD 175 is way back on the list. Oh, yes. Paul Bunyan is like way, way, way at the bottom. Partially because Paul Bunyan has not run in my lifetime. So Paul Bunyan is in the shed. That sounds terrible. Ricky, thank you so much for the super chat. I have to pour myself another drink. Even if you have a smelly product that is brand new and is still sealed, what the bears smell is the ambient odor from the factory that bottled or packaged the smelly thing. Thank you, Ricky. That is wonderful information. I can't open the whiskey. What is happening right now? Thank you for the super chat, Ricky. I don't have any drink to cheers you with, so I will... Cheers. Oh, there was a tiny bit left. I can't open the whiskey. Oh, no. Thank you, Ricky, for the super chat. Appreciate you. You're awesome. If you could do something big and different from Rocky Mountain Roll, what would you do? What's your vision? That is an excellent question. Rocky Mountain Roll is like my ultimate favorite kind of event. I took all the parts of events that I really, really like and I put them into Rocky Mountain Roll. I removed the loud band. I got rid of the merch row that make me feel terrible when I spent all my money getting to the event and I don't have money to spend there because I have to get home. So I took out merch row, and I don't actually normally eat at the food vendors that events have because I am a very picky eater, and I like knowing everything that's going to go into my food, that kind of stuff. So I took out like food trucks. So you're wholly responsible for feeding yourself, except for Saturday night when we do pizza. because who doesn't like pizza? I guess there are people who don't like pizza, but yeah. The simple, going back to simplicity, I took out all the parts that I don't like about events, and I kept all the parts that I really like, which is talking to people who have come from all over the country and have wonderful riding stories just from the trip to the event. And trying to make that environment as inclusive as possible. So, like, we have riders from every kind of genre of riding. We have sport bikes, we have cruisers, we have dual sports, we have dirt bikes, like, we have people who trailer in. Like, it's been really awesome, and making sure that that environment is super inclusive is very important to me, because I feel like conversations are the best that way. And keeping it as relaxed as possible. And so making sure that, like, I am fostering an environment that makes it easy to have those kinds of conversations. So, like, yeah. Rocky Mountain Roll is, like, my ideal event. I really haven't even thought about, like, doing any other kind of event than that. I think it would be neat, maybe, to, like, do a couple smaller campouts, like, around the Pacific Northwest during the year, just like smaller things that are like 15-20 people, a little bit easier to organize maybe, but yeah, that's actually a really good question. I should think about that more. Ursack makes lightweight bear-proof bags that are available at REI, even if the bear can get the bag, a really strong material that is almost impossible for the bear to claw through. This is true. I do have an Ursack bag, but the thing that you have to remember about Ursack bags is that they're still a bag. It's not a hard structure like the bear vault, so even if the bear does get it out of the tree, they will crush everything in the bag. So there won't be a whole lot of food left that is really edible after the bear has gotten it out of the tree. Just something to think about, which is why I recommend bear vaults over the Ursack bag. The Ursack bag idea is wonderful in the idea that, like, if they're patting at it in the tree, their claws won't get into it and rip it. That's awesome. But if they do get it out of the bag, everything in the Ursack bag will be crushed, and you won't want to eat it anyway. It will protect the bear because the bear wouldn't have gotten human food, but your money is better spent buying a bear vault over an Ursack bag. I owned one, believe me. Your ADV MotoFest video was good. Thank you, Donna. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. That's awesome. And thank you, Falcro. I still have my first big cruiser, a 1984 V65 Magna, and it hasn't run since 95. One day I hope to get it running again. Okay, you all are making me feel much better about my situation. What's your filming to experiencing the adventure ratio? I have a hard time taking pictures whenever I go on vacation. For me personally, I think that I probably film 40 to 50% of what's actually happening, and then experience like 60% of it. Partially that is more because I only film like parts of the road that I think are interesting. I'm going to interrupt this question to cheers Charlie Ramble On for the super chat. Thank you for the gas money. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you very much. Whew. Back to your question about like filming versus experiencing the trip. I say like the 40 to 60 ratio because like there is a lot of seat time that doesn't end up in the video, and that's because it's kind of boring seat time. Or it's not like boring in the experiencing of it, but it's something that's boring as a viewer because there isn't a whole lot to look at that's very interesting. Or that doesn't look like a clip that I have already put before it, if that makes any kind of sense. And in reality, when you're on a long motorcycle trip, like over half of that trip is just seat time. It isn't like the stopping at restaurants and like camping and that kind of stuff, which is the stuff that I include in the videos because that's what's interesting And that's really what I remember after the fact, is all those places that I stopped, where I camped, where I ate, all those little moments where I stopped for a break, or the highly interesting moments where I'm on the bike that end up in the video from the helmet and like the handlebar camera. And the other half of a trip is just seat time, just getting from point A to point B. Obviously, your brain is working a lot during that seat time, but it's not always something that an audience is super interested in when you're watching it back. So for me, like, I want to remember all the times that I'm off the bike, or something very interesting that I saw while I was on the bike, and not necessarily all those times in between. I hope that makes sense. Peaceful, consider it way too happy, sleepy among cow patties, but okay. Sorry, Sean. She threatened to boot Tom and I for putting gas on the fire, but I think we both look so sad that she reconsidered. That's true. Dry out the water bladder and don't add anything but water. Yes. Now I'm in the market for an adventure bike since I've sold my naked bike. Oh, that's very exciting, Donna. My biggest recommendation for you is to test ride as many bikes as you can possibly get your hands on. Like, just do it. Like, totally watch reviews and that kind of stuff, but like, nobody can review a bike in mind for what you want to do with it and for your stature and for your riding position. So test ride as many bikes as you possibly can before you buy another one. Any chance you may make it to Forgotten Angels Campout in Florida in October? Somebody else asked me this. Don't buy one of those flasks. Paul, I think that the problem with the flask was my sweaty hands, not the actual flask. As for the Forgotten Angels Camp Out, I still haven't decided. Somebody else asked me this earlier, and my thing is that like October is very, very like soon. I want to at least be home for a week or two before I go on my next adventure, and I will be getting back from Overland Expo like the first weekend of October. And October is also very, very near to try to plan a cross-country trip. So I didn't even know if I would have the cash flow to be able to go all the way to Florida from Portland, Oregon in a month, less than a month time. Yeah. I'm still leaning on the probably not. Don't expect me to be there. If it does happen, awesome. If not, don't be disappointed. Mom says probably because I didn't hear about the gas. Yeah. That's why you didn't get kicked out. Oh, Pete, thank you so much for the super chat. You were so sweet. I'm so excited to see you at Overland Expo West. I am thrilled. It like makes my day to actually know that people that I know are going to be at an event when I go there, and it helps so much with my social anxiety you don't even know. So cheers, Pete. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Pete is the gentleman who let me stay at his house in Colorado on the cross-country trip last year, and he washed my windshield, so all y'all would have to look at all my bugs. Cheers. Gifford Pinchot Campout would be fun. For sure, yeah. Love the idea of small events. Shame you aren't doing an event now, as I'm actually a couple hours away from Rocky Mountain Roll right now. Of course you are, Tom. That makes absolute sense. We are thoroughly chastised and berated. It was about to... Oh, good. Yes. There will not be gasoline on the fire, Mom. I promise. I try a T700 at IMS Outdoors this weekend. Oh my gosh, the perfect bike. Oh my god. My, the gentleman who runs Owl Cycle in Hamilton, Ryan, owns a T7, and he, like, puts it on display at Owl Cycle while he's at work, and it is, oh my god, it's such a beautiful bike. I haven't had the courage to ask him if I can sit on it yet, because I'm scared that I'm gonna love it too much. I have ridden one, but it feels more of a dual sport. I want something that's more comfortable for long rides and light off-roading. Yes. That makes sense, Donna. Absolutely, especially for your first ADV bike. Over the years, I've had a 24 CB 750 SOHC Hondas, and I wish I had kept them all. Yes. Yeah. I tested a few already, but I'm more into large ADVs. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that makes more sense for, like, the long hauls on freeways, like, and just a little bit of gravel roads. Yay! Oh, good night, Philip. Good night, David. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Got to ride an Africa Twin last weekend and totally thought of you. Oh, thank you, Moto Sally. I did get to ride Mark's Africa Twin DCT at Rocky Mountain Roll. Mark is Age of Exploring, and if you haven't already, definitely go subscribe to him. He's working on building his YouTube channel. I'm very proud of him. And he let me ride his DCT at Rocky Mountain Roll, but he is so tall. Oh my goodness. So the seat is in the high position, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I was very intimidated at first, but I'm like, I got this. It was very fun. The DCT is something that you definitely have to get used to. I don't think I was ready for that. Ironically, Dork on the Road and Beard's Bikes and Camping have the regular Africa Twin, and they came to the Pack It Out cleanup yesterday, and they were joking like, well, you have two right here, when they asked me what I thought of the Africa Twin now that I got to ride it. And it was like, it was a DCT. I don't think that I can give my full opinion yet. And I still didn't get to ride their bikes. Also, I only got to ride Mark's bike around the field, like, because he was on his way out. It was like the last day of Rocky Mountain Roll when everybody was leaving. So I don't think that I can give my full opinion yet. I still am in love with them. If that makes any kind of difference to anybody. I still am in love with them. Eventually I'll get to ride one with the seat in a low position, so that I can get a better idea of like what it would be like if I owned one. But I'm still probably not going to buy one anytime soon. So everybody who's like, you should buy a new bike, can like just chill it, because it's not happening anytime soon. Unless I get a really, really good deal on a bike. It's just not in the cards right now. Oh, hi, Beard's Bikes and Camping. He made it. Hello. Hey, we did offer. That's true. Well, like, the offer happened while we were like gearing up to like go someplace else. I don't like that. I tried Honda DCT for the first time today, was very skeptical, and now I'm sold. Oh, that's good. Yes. I feel like people either like absolutely love it, hate it, or like are in between. And I feel like I'm an in between. Like, I can see what the pros are, but it was also just very strange. Is the Africa Twin better than the HD Pan America? Oh, 100%. Oh, that's mean. I should, for my opinion, the Africa Twin is is much better than the Pan America. I know other people who like have ridden the Pan Americas a lot, who like own a Pan America now, who love it. But for me personally, the Africa Twin still absolutely wins over the Pan America. 1290 Super Adventure R. Yeah, I've also heard people who like drink the Kool-Aid for KTM like never go back also. But I have also never like been like when I was still like leading group rides as part of my job, we did not go on a ride where a KTM that went with us didn't have a problem. And that was rides full of like Triumph Tigers, okay? Triumphs are very needy. They need attention a lot. But yeah, no shame if you love your KTM. Like Chris and Nathan for the Love of Knobs absolutely love their KTMs. That's awesome. But they do need their fair share of maintenance and attention. You know, it's just a thing. All bikes need maintenance and attention, obviously. But I will always be a Honda fangirl. It's just in my nature. Water bottle bladder cleaning hack. Drop a denture cleaning tablet in the container, fill with water, and let it sit for 15 minutes. Flush thoroughly with clean water. Gets rid of the musty, moldy smell. I think the denture cleaning tablets are probably like have the same chemical compounds as Bottle Bright does. I have not compared them like price point wise, but I'm pretty sure they probably have the same chemical compounds. If you do get a new bike, I know someone who would trade you a really nice Grom clone for your CB500X. Ha 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 ha. No. Brigarios was a gift from my papa. Brigarios is not going anywhere. Sorry, not sorry. You can't get rid of gifts, man. It's just not something you can do. Pan Am seems to be more road-oriented and a mile crusher. 100%. The Pan America is much, much more a highway-oriented bike over ADV. And the Africa Twin is much more dual sport leaning than other ADV bikes on the market. And that's something that a lot of people talked about when the Africa Twin came out in the first place, when they were doing comparisons for it to like the GS and the other KTMs and that kind of stuff. The Africa Twin is much more dual sport leaning, like even more so than the KLR is, than other adventure bikes on the market. I think the comparison for the Africa Twin, where it sits in the ADV, is much closer to like a KTM 690 than it is the KTM 1190, if that makes sense. Yeah, the Pan Am is much more leaning towards that like pavement, like heavy experience, more the way that the GS 1250 is. And that's why Harley Davidson was like, when they talk about like what market they are in press conferences, they talk about the GS 1250 in comparison to the Pan America. And I have sat on the GS 1250. I have not gotten to ride the GS 1250, so I can't speak specifically to like how they handle in comparison. I don't think that the Pan America is unforgiving off-road. We did do like that adventure course, like where like you did the cones and that kind of stuff, and I don't think that it was hard to handle. And off the record, Chris and I did get to pick them up, and they were not that hard to pick up. I feel like the Pan America is easier to pick up than the Tiger is, 100%, because the Tiger has way, way more weight up top than the Pan America does. Yeah. Beers, Bikes, and Camping, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Just popped in for a quick sec. Tons of stuff going on right now to attend to, so see you all later. Thank you so much for being here. Cheers, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. As a child of the 60s, I have owned so many Honda CBs, I've lost count, but I still miss my 97 CBR 600 F3. It was stolen. Oh no! On my sport bike, I could do a 600-mile day on. Oh, I'm so sorry, Philip. Oh, R.I.P. CBR 600. You will never be forgotten. I've never owned a KTM, but have demo ridden a few. Their engines are so lively and angry. If that's your thing, they're very fun. That's what I thought. I did get to ride a couple KTMs a couple years ago. Dirt-tastic did an event in the Dalles where they did like a women's dirt bike day. And I got to ride a bunch of different bikes, and a couple of them were KTMs, a couple were Huskies. I got to ride a couple Yamahas. And I loved the Husky over the KTM because I felt like the Husky was much more manageable. The throttle was just a smidge tamer and felt more accessible to me than the KTM. The KTM felt very raw. And I feel like for people who are more advanced riders than I, off-road, probably love that about the KTM. But I love the Husky way more. It felt like much nicer to me. Smoother, maybe. Yeah. I'm looking for a Versus 650. Has anyone experienced with that bike? Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't gotten to ride the Versus. I rode the new 890R Rally this weekend. Amazing. 1 inch taller than my 1190R. Whew. Sounds like it's too tall for me. No, that's not. That's not true. The HD is still an HD. It will need more maintenance than real ADV bikes. I think the Harley Davidsons need the same amount of maintenance as the Triumphs do. And like KTMs are also very maintenance needy. So I think Harley Davidson is in very similar company in the ADV market. Like it probably needs more maintenance than a BMW or a Honda or a Suzuki or a Kawasaki probably need. But Triumph and KTM and Harley Davidson have very similar maintenance intervals. Dead on assessment. Pan America is a great road bike that can do some dirt. Finally got a ride on that too. Yes, yeah. 150 horsepower HD is compensating. R1250 GS are awesome. I've had experience riding them. Awesome. Fantastic. Hubs had a KTM Duke 690. He also has a little bit of a wild streak. Hi, Jessie! My girlfriend and I started watching some of your videos and she got hooked, so she just bought her first motorcycle last week, a CB500X, and she loves it. I know that's off topic. That's awesome, Jessie! That's so cool! Say hello to your girlfriend for me! Hello! I hope that you love your CB as much as I do. What year did she end up with, Jessie? I hope that it was like the 2019 or newer, because like they have the beautiful 19-inch front wheel that I'm still envying. I hope eventually I will have enough money to buy the Rally Raid kit so that I can upgrade my front wheel. That would be incredible. But yeah, KTMs are very finicky on the throttle for sure. If you were a two-stroke rider, they are great. Yeah. No personal experience with the Pan Am, but their valve train seems pretty advanced for a V-twin hydraulic leader. Yes. For sure. Yeah. The self-adjusting valves on the new Pan America engine is really awesome. I know that David talked about the fact that the engine for the Pan America is actually modeled off of a older engine that Harley Davidson made for, what was it, the V-Rod or something like that? But the new self-adjusting valves is huge, and I mean, like, I'm not super familiar, but I don't think that there are very many other engines who do that, or any other engines that have self-adjusting valves. And that's pretty huge with the Pan America. Not an HD hater, own two of them. Yeah. And also Harley Davidson did a lot of work on after the 2019 line came out, and a lot of those bikes are a little bit more reliable, I think, than the older Harley Davidson models. I was working at the dealership when those came out, and I got to ride quite a few of them, and it was incredible the difference between like those and the older model years of the Harley Davidson. And I think they are trying to work very hard at being more reliable than past years for sure. Nope, she was lucky to find a 2016 used for a good price. We thought it was a good starter bike. Same color as yours, actually. Oh, that's so cool! Like, the color of my bike is, like, so rare. I'm like, that's awesome you were able to find one. That's awesome. I know that I come across a lot of people who are like, I've never seen a color CB, like, that paint on a CB before. And I'm like, really? Because, I don't know. I love it. And I think that was involved in my decision of picking the CB, like, over the NC700X or other bikes that we looked at that day. I absolutely fell in love with it. It's an amazing bike, like, no shame in that, for sure. I just, like, I was semi-upset and extremely jealous when they came out with the 2019 models and newer that had the 19-inch front wheel, and I was like, why couldn't you have done that from the start? Probably some shared tech with the Porsche design V-Rod, yes, yeah. Yes. HG has hydraulic lifters for decades on an overhead cam engine, though it is pretty remarkable, yeah. I have an Italian stallion, the Multistrada. That's true. I bet you the maintenance intervals for the Multistrada are also pretty in line with the Triumphs. Or maybe a little bit closer together? I actually don't know. I've only known like 2 people who have had the Multistradas, so Biker and Bits, you can let us know if like how close together those service intervals are. I feel like each bike has its own personality, and no two are alike. My KTM isn't bad, but the height of the seat is a struggle. For sure. I know that Chris from For the Love of Knobs has come up with this wonderful like routine of like starting the bike and kind of rolling forward and then getting up onto the bike, and it's so cool to watch. But also, like, I don't know if I like, she's incredible. She's my hero. She's amazing. I love her so much. And I'm like, I don't know if I would have the dedication to do that. I don't she's amazing. I really want to learn that, like, get up and go method, though. I feel like that would be super useful for riding taller bikes if I ever own an Africa Twin, those kinds of things. Was gonna buy the Tuscan Scorpion XO 18950, but then realized you commented about your helmet matching your bike and stopped since my Yamaha is tan. Oh, you mean like the sand-colored Scorpion? There are other colors. You know, like, there are other colors. How about that V4 multi stupid power, but so ridiculously thirsty that you need a tray under the seat for cooking pizza? I think you could say that about the Tiger also. I'm pretty sure the Tiger could cook food for how hot that engine gets. Holy biscuits. Oh my gosh, we're coming up on 2 hours, you guys. Let's, we're gonna wrap this up. Oh my goodness. My Triumph has some of the longest service intervals I've seen, annual and or 10K miles. Okay, that's cool. That's pretty similar to the Honda. It's like either once a year or every like 10K after you reach 12, I think. Because I think there's a service interval at 6, and then you can change oil at 1,000 or something like that. And then there's another service interval at 6K and then 12K. And I don't know what after that. When I called the when I hit like the 6th or 12K, I can't remember which one it was. I hit one of the big service intervals for my Honda, and I called the dealership and I was like, I can do this, this, and this, but can you check my I think it was my forks, my rear suspension, and check valves. And I was like, can you do these parts and I will do the other parts of the service? And they're like, why? And I was like, well, because it's time for this service. And they're like, is there anything wrong with it? Like, is it not riding properly? Is there anything wrong? And I'm like, well, no. And they're like, it's fine. Like, you can do your checks if you want, but like, if it's running fine, like, we're not gonna do anything. Like, and I was like, that's such a strange thing for a dealership to tell you. I did end up doing my small checks, and like they said, it was perfectly fine. Like, the book makes it sound like this is vital and that things probably would have moved by then, but when I did all the small checks that I could do, like, it was absolutely fine. So yeah, that's fascinating. Oh, Eric, thank you so much for the super chat. Cheers, my man. Keep doing the thing. Yes. Thank you so much. Good night, Philip. It was wonderful to have you here. KTM 1190 is 9,000 mile intervals, 15K for valves. Have a great night, Amanda. Glad we made it this time. I always forget when you're doing live streams. Thank you so much for being here, man. Awesome. Almost 2 hours and not a dull moment. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you. The 1190 KTM engine is seriously impressive. Yeah. Stay safe and have fun, everyone. All right. Okay. We're wrapping this up. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you all for being wonderful human beings and extremely understanding when I couldn't quite post the video that was supposed to happen on Friday. Thank you. I appreciate you. Next Friday will be the Orygun Run video in conjunction with a little camera review of the Insta360 1X2. The Insta360 was very kind to send me. And then the week after that will probably be a little like wrap-up video of the cleanup day. I am leaving for Overland Expo West next Friday or Saturday. Haven't quite decided yet. And then the weekend after that will be Overland Expo West. So if you are in the area, if you're going to Overland Expo West, I hope that I can see you there. If not, look forward to the subsequent videos of my trip there, the event, and my trip back. I am very excited about it. I don't have any exact plans for what's happening in October and November and the winter in general. I expect some more story time videos happening once it gets nice and cold here in the PMW. So if you have any questions or ideas for story time videos, please leave those in the comments. I am always open to suggestions like that. And now that I'm pretty much done with my second drink of the night, I think this is an excellent time to wrap this all up nice and a bow. I want to say a huge thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon who make these videos possible and these live streams possible, and have made it possible for me to be totally self-employed since December 2020, which is absolutely incredible and is entirely thanks to them. When I got sick with an ulcer in December, they made it possible for when my medical leave got denied in February for me to quit my job and not worry about how I was going to feed myself or how I was going to pay bills. So thank you to everybody who are patrons on Patreon. You're incredible. I am forever indebted to you. Thank you so much. If you are not a patron, but you are interested, for as little as $1 a month, you can support me over on Patreon. There's always a link down in the description for my Patreon. You get early access to videos, or you get access to videos as soon as I've edited them before the rest of the world, ad-free. I always try to make sure there's at least 8 hours of a video ad-free for my patrons before it goes live on YouTube. And they also get photo dumps right after I've done a trip and that kind of stuff, and sketchbook tier patrons get my sketchbook stuff when it happens. Haven't been drawing a whole lot this summer because I've been pretty busy riding my motorcycle. So most of the sketchbook stuff kind of happens in the wintertime, but they're incredible. Thank you so much. And thank you to all my sponsors who have made it possible for me to continue this crazy journey of being a full-time YouTuber and freelancer, like Onyx Off-Road and Moto Camp Nerd and Easy Rider, who paid me to go and take photos last weekend at Orygun Run. Without incredible sponsors like that, I also would not be able to continue doing this. So thank you, and everybody who sent me super chats today. Cheers, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful week this week, and you have a wonderful weekend on the next. Bye.